different times and different time zones. Yeah, so just a big welcome, or welcome back. If this is your second day coming along to this home retreat, Alive, Aware and Awake with the Tower Loka team. So I won't say very much today. I just want to basically just mention, today we're moving on to look at the 4 foundations of mindfulness. We're looking at the body and sensations. So Hridayagita is going to be doing quite an interactive session with us in the next few minutes. And so just to mention, there will be a chance for you to share how you're getting on as we do these exercises. So we're just going to keep it pretty informal, so you can just unmute yourselves when she invites you to speak. And obviously, you know, the way with Zoom, there might be a chance that you might speak over each other. Just if that happens, we'll just take it in turns. Yeah, so just keep it pretty informal. So, oh yes, I suppose just to mention again, if you're tuning in for the first time, I'm Sadaya Sihi from the Buddhist Center Online team, and I'm also joined with Sangadara, who's looking after the live stream. So you might see him there on your screen. And I'm going to hand over now to Hridayagita. So I'd suggest that if you haven't already, maybe just to turn to speaker view, which you can find at the top of your screen on the right, just so you can really see what she's going to do now. So handing over to Hridayagita.
Thanks, Sadaya Sihi. So as Sadaya Sihi's just said, the first foundation of mindfulness is the body. And if you haven't already seen, there is a talk and a meditation looking at that aspect of mindfulness and sort of explaining a little bit more about how I've been working with the body and that kind of thing. So I'm not going to talk about it this evening. I really want this evening to be an experiential time for you to actually be in the body. And then there's a chance to interact with me and ask questions or make comments about how that is for you as well. So I think it's really important in my own practice to remember that I need to keep coming back into the body the same way as we do with the mindfulness of breathing and the metta bhavana. They're a practice. It's not like we do the mindfulness of breathing once and then we're forever mindful, or we do the metta bhavana and the heart just opens and stays that way. So practicing with a body meditation is an ongoing process, and it has to be done daily or, you know, fairly regularly. And it's one of those things where for me, coming back to the body is coming back into relationship with the vehicle of enlightenment. If I'm not in relationship with this body that I have in this lifetime, there is no way I can do anything with my mind, because my mind is part of that. And I'm hoping this evening, the exercise I give you will show how interlinked those two really are. We sort of split them off into, yes, the body's one thing that needs this physical care, it needs nurturing, it needs food, it needs clothing, it needs taking care of. And the mind is where this amazing consciousness potential is. That's a very Western view of how we work as human beings. Actually, there's a complete relationship between the two. They both feed off each other. They're completely interconnected with each other. Another reason it's really important to come back into relationship with the body is because we often reject our own body, because at times in our early life, other people have rejected our bodies, whether that's friends at school, teasing us about something about our body, or even just not wanting to speak to us, or, you know, ignoring us for a little while. The body feels those kind of distress signals as it's not okay, I'm not safe, something's happening to me. And as soon as somebody else rejects us, whether that's our first lover that we lose, or whoever it is, it's parents, friends, whatever, we then start to reject our own bodies. We sort of start to blame the body for being not quite right. So the flip side, the positive of that, is if we can come into relationship with our body and accept our bodies, and even more so, love our bodies, then others will also just naturally start accepting and loving not just our body, the whole thing, because it's all joined, as I just said. I also have been really reflecting during this lockdown period of the importance of touch. The importance of touch as a method of communication with each other, particularly through hugging, through kissing, through just the non-verbal communication that we give each other with our bodies. But also how important it is that perhaps we even feel, touch, take in this sort of envelope of skin that's holding this amazing machine together. And I was leading a few little Tai Chi sessions. So there's some videos on the YouTube channel of Tai Chi that we did right at the beginning of lockdown. And then later on, I did these small little seminars with some people. And I lead something called Do In, which we're just going to do in a moment if you'd like to join in. And it's all about touch. It's about the different sensations of touch that we can bring to different parts of our bodies. And one of the things that one of the women on that course said over and over again was she just felt gratitude towards her body, that she could feel those sensations. So I'd like to invite you in a moment to, whatever we do this evening, to just kind of do this with this intention of gratitude that the body you have has brought you here tonight. And that is an amazing thing. Tsongkhapa says it brilliantly, so I'm just going to read his verses. Some of you will know these, but it's worth hearing them over and over again. The human body at peace with itself is more precious than the rarest gem. Cherish your body. It is yours this time only. The human form is one with difficulty. It is easy to lose. All worldly things are brief, like lightning in the sky. This life you must know as the tiny splash of a raindrop, a thing of beauty that disappears even as it comes into being. Therefore, set your goal. Make use of every day and night to achieve it. So I think it's the line, cherish your body, it is yours this time only, that really resonates with me in what I'd like us to explore tonight. All of us will have injuries or difficulties or from the past or the present, potential injuries to come. We're all susceptible to old age, sickness, and death. That is the Buddha's teaching. It's the basic Buddha's teaching. It's why he even went out to try and find a way from those things. And yet the importance of this kind of love, this warmth, this heart wish to look after and cherish this body, which is the vehicle of enlightenment. So what I'd like us to do, if you are up for this, first of all, is just stand up and we'll do some Do In. So just find a space. You don't have to be still on screen. So for those of you that have never done this before, it's a type of self-massage. And it's really good when there's meditation happening for long periods of time. And it's very, very safe, and it's a way of giving our bodies the sensation of touch when there's no one else around to give us that sensation of touch. So you need to have a floppy, take one arm and make sure you've got a floppy wrist, so it's not hitting straight. There's a nice floppy wrist. And we're just going to support it with the other hand and just massage down the neck, top of the shoulders, and then going down the arm, down the top of the arm. The back of your hand is facing the sky. Palm of the hand faces the sky. Thumb faces the sky. Going down the arm, and then little finger faces the sky. You're going to head into your armpit. Give your armpit a bit of a massage. Notice how that feels. Just notice what that arm feels like now. And then the other side, so the same thing. Floppy wrist. Down the side of the neck. And to the top of the shoulder. Top of the hand faces the sky. Palm faces the sky. Thumb faces the sky. Little finger faces the sky. Okay, we're going to do these limbs next. So hip flexors, nice slap. Again, floppy wrists. Down the front of the legs. Up the back of the legs. Buttocks, give the buttocks a good slap, especially if you're sitting down all day. Down the side, down the side of the legs. Up the inside of the leg. Back to the hip flexors. You can make some noise. We're going to do this chest area. So, like, and then coming to this soft, vulnerable belly, give it a lovely massage. Some people believe you should only ever go clockwise. Other people say only ever anti-clockwise. So we're just going to do what feels nice for your belly. And then creating that kind of shape with your hands. We're just going to do the back. Rubbing in circles. The kidneys, lower back. Getting some nice sensations. So noticing as you're doing this, what does this feel like? Is your body enjoying it? Okay. Moving to our head. So creepy crawly fingers. Anyone would think I'm making this up. Back of your neck, creepy crawly fingers, and then into the scalp. So it's like raindrops, but just notice the sounds, notice the sensations. Forehead, cheekbones, jaw, chin, upper lip, Then on the side of the nose, just gently making a really nice sound. Then taking pincer movement, we're just going to squeeze the eyebrows. So starting in the middle, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Then with a very gentle, gentle finger, just feeling around the edge or thumb, edge of your eye socket, just noticing, have you ever felt the edge of your eye socket before? What does it feel like? And down the bottom, exploring that bony edge. And then lastly, just being aware if you've got earrings on, just going to take, again, the pincer movement and going all around the edge of the ear. So pull and squeeze, squeeze, pull and squeeze, giving your ears a nice, if there's anywhere that's really sore, just notice, it doesn't matter. Then the earlobes, if you haven't got earrings on, just grab your earlobes and just pull down to the earth. Then just standing. And noticing sensation. Seeing what the sensation of the connection with the earth and your feet feels like. How do your limbs feel? The raw, direct sensations of touch. And that connection with the sky, because we're standing. Air is all around us. Okay, if you'd like to, you can come and sit down again briefly. We're going to move on to something else, but I just want to explain a little bit about that. I don't know if anyone would like to say, especially somebody that's never done Do-In before, maybe, or some new experience if you've done that before, anything you've noticed from that experience of self-massage, of massaging the body. If you'd like to speak, you can just unmute yourselves.
Can I just say, that I feel a lot more alive now than I did before I did it. I was feeling quite tired, and now I feel more zangy on the outside.
That's a great description. That's fantastic. Thanks, Annie. Anybody else like to say anything?
Sure. It's quite similar to Qigong, the massage. I've never felt my eye sockets before, though. That was quite cool.
And what did your eye sockets say to you as you were feeling them?
They're bony. I don't know.
Why have you neglected me for so long?
Long, yes.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Thank you. One last comment, if anyone wants to make one, and then I'll move on.
Just felt really tingly and alive, and feeling things, parts of my body. It was almost like I could feel the blood moving around, which I couldn't really feel before. It was nice.
Yeah, great. Great. So for some people, having that level of sensation can be quite uncomfortable, and often that's why we don't want to come back into our body. So it's really great that that for all of you, it's felt really a positive thing. I'd really be interested if there's anybody that's found it difficult just in that first exercise. That's, you know, it's absolutely usual that for some people it can be quite difficult. Got really hot ears. Great. Oh, well, if you did find it difficult, let me know afterwards and I'll see how you go. Okay, so we're going to do another little exercise. So now I'm hoping that in the space that you're in at the moment, that you've got enough room where you could walk in a circle. Obviously, we're very lucky. We're only using a third of the shrine room here, and there's only 4 of us. But you just need to be able to walk in a circle. You don't have to walk fast, or a figure of 8, or pace up and down, but not making yourself busy and dizzy and not feeling like you're stuck in a cage. That's the idea. So you might want to just move a few things out of the way, but we're just going to do this a few different walking things. And I'm going to lead us through a fairly imaginative situation and into a bit of a stress response. But I just want you to know that I'm going to bring you back out of it again. So I'm hoping you will feel a bit stressed, and then you'll see how to come back out of it again. So that's the idea. So don't feel too worried that I'm going to leave you in some horrible mental state. Okay. It's just an imaginative exercise. So of course, just stop imagining if it gets too much. So starting off, first of all, just getting a sense of the space you've just created and just doing your normal walking. So not trying to do any kind of meditative walking or anything like that. You're just normal walking around the room or the space. Could be a bit daydreamy if you want to. Thinking about other things. Noticing things you haven't tidied away. And now I'd just like you to imagine that we're moving into a space where actually you've got a hell of a lot of things to do. So come on, things to do, people to see, places to go. Things to do, people to see, places to go. Okay, I just stopped because we're getting really dizzy. So I just like, before I take you out of that, just like to know how that is, what that feels like with that stressed walking.
I can say something. I had a sense of tightening up, and when we actually stopped, my stomach area was quite clenched. My head was feeling dizzy because it's quite a small area, and my palms were clenched.
Fantastic. Anybody else who would like to describe the sensations of how that felt at the end?
I felt it really hard to not connect it with my mind. So I just started going into what I was going to do tomorrow, you know, just really quickly just went into production mode in my head.
Yeah.
More in my body with the tapping. I was just in my body. So yeah, uncomfortable.
Yeah, so that's like a really good example. So we've gone into the body, we've done this do in, we've kind of felt this connection with the body, and then the stress response is to come back into the head, thinking, trying to strategize on how we get things done. Yeah, great. Anybody else?
there was a sense of a rush, a feeling of rushing coming over me, like my blood was rushing or my adrenaline was rushing. There was like an urgency, and it just felt quite alarming. And then a little bit dizzy, almost like I was swaying when I stopped because the rush was still happening physically.
Yeah. Have you got a direction of that rush that you could show us? How did it feel like it was there a direction of it?
Well, it was coming up from the ground and it was just rushing into my head, and it was almost pushing me forward or pulling me forwards. So it was kind of this kind of sensation.
Perfect. Almost like I set you up. Okay, so I'm just going to follow on from that. So what we've actually done is we've created this kind of movement in Tai Chi. This is kind of almost like a vomiting up from the earth, and it's exactly as though everyone that's just spoken has said. You're taking the energy from the earth, you're bringing it through, you're locking it into the head, and often, so it is this kind of movement, it's kind of like this forward movement. So you'll end up with the posture, as you can see me now, kind of slightly hunched over, tense shoulders, stiff neck, forward movement. That's an exaggeration, but that's the kind of feeling. So what I'd like to do, we are going to do that again. We're going to go into the stress walking, and you can actually do this movement with the hands. And then at some point, I'm just going to ask you to change, and you're going to do Tai Chi hands, which just changes the direction of the circle. So it's this, which is exactly what we've just said. It's kind of, it's vomiting up and moving forward. And I'm going to say change, and you carry on walking, but we just change the direction of that circle and see what happens. So notice what happens in the body, in your mind, everywhere. Okay, so first of all, we're just going to go back into the stressed walking. So imagining all the things we've got to do tomorrow or next week. Looking after the grandchildren, taking the kids to school, finishing my thesis. Now just bring in those arms, this arm movement from up, it's coming up, it's almost like coming out of your mouth, up and out of your mouth, up and out of your mouth. And feel how that feels in the body. And then carry on moving, but just change the direction. So change, notice what happens. Oh, I'm still feeling dizzy. Okay, and just stop. And if anyone would like to say how that was.
That was really unpleasant. I had when I started doing the arms forward, I felt like I was panicking. And then when I did them back, I was like, oh, okay, I can slow down now. And my walking slowed down immediately.
Yeah.
I felt slightly dizzy with the sudden change, even though it slowed down. It was I was going too fast for it, so it was unpleasant. I felt slightly dizzy.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because that's sometimes when we are actually stressed or anxious or moving through life in that way, to stop is really unpleasant, or to change something can be really unpleasant as well. Yeah.
My stomach was really cramping when we were going forward, and I couldn't get over the difference when I changed my position. It physically slowed me down, as well as sort of just calming me down.
So what's interesting about this exercise is that actually the stressors haven't changed. All that we've changed is direction of energy in the body, in a way. So as I was saying at the beginning of the evening, there's something about the link between body, mind, body, that we think we're sort of run by our mind sort of all the time. But actually the body can affect the mind as well. And, the body affects the mind affects the body. And we can do things. I'm just interested if anyone noticed, so you've mentioned dizziness and clenched stomach and everything. Did anyone notice anything change dramatically in the body, apart from the slowing down? Because it's almost impossible not to slow down when we do the circles the other way. But did anyone notice anything else in the body at all?
My breath.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my breath was, I could focus on, it was changed, for me, changed dramatically. Yeah, the way I was breathing.
Can you describe it from?
I was trying. I just felt it went into my stomach more.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I felt kind of then the energy as well, kind of going through my legs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. While before, it didn't reach there. My breath was very superficial and kind of just around here. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that's something we notice when we're stressed, is trying to breathe deeply is very, very difficult. So again, what's interesting about this activity is we haven't changed the stress. The external stress is still there. You've still got all those things to do. It's just changing the focus in the body. So that's really interesting. Yeah,
it was very, very nice. Thank you.
Somebody else wanted to say something about the breath.
I would agree on the breath. I just was conscious of suddenly taking a really deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
And before, I think I probably wasn't breathing. I think I was holding my breath a bit, but I wasn't aware of that until I took the deep breath. And then, yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so anyone else that'd like to say anything before I move on?
I had a slightly different experience.
Mm-hmm.
In that when you asked us to go into the stressor, actually my response was just kind of, oh, I just can't be bothered. Just seemed to suck the energy out of me. Mm-hmm. So I was sort of like flopping around, walking. And when you asked me to do the arms, I was like, oh, I can't be bothered. Now, when you asked us to reverse the direction, what happened then was I got a sense of poise and uplift. Mm-hmm. So I more got a sense of easy energy coming back in, compared to the energyless of somebody saying you've got lots to do, and me thinking, yeah. So it had a positive response, but I just obviously got the other side of the coin, if you like, I guess.
Well, that's great. It's really nice to hear, actually, and it's perfect because, not everyone responds to stress in the same way. So some people will get anxious, some people will get depressed and lethargic, and in all the spectrum in between. So it's like it's overwhelmed with having too much to do will just manifest differently in different beings. But that's really great to hear that it still worked, because I don't know that I've heard that from somebody, that then changing the direction and coming back into the body in a way, which is in effect what you're doing, meant that you then had the poise. And did you feel like you could be bothered then?
I just felt a sort of, I felt my body straighten up, and I felt like, there was a lightness of energy there, and I wasn't going to just go to bed. so yeah, I guess it did feel like I could be bothered. Yeah,
lovely. That's really great. Anybody else?
And well, I had a slight headache.
Hello. Is that before? Sorry, I thought you were going to say something else. Is that before? Is that during the stress thing, or what?
After changing the direction, or after end of the practice.
You've ended up with a headache, and is that because it was too quick, or do you have a sense of?
I don't think so.
No. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's gone now.
Okay, that's good. So I think there's something about the shift in energy. If it's too quick, sometimes we need to transition from being incredibly busy or noticing that we've gone into a stress response, whether that's an anxious stress response with that forward movement, or a I can't be bothered stress response that we've had described, and then just work out what we need to do to bring ourselves back into the body. So that's quite, you know, that was quite quick in a way, kind of like doof, just turn the circle around. I don't recommend that as on a daily practice, but I do recommend it as an exploration of what the body's doing as you're in that situation. So usually I just finish this off just by, just in your own time, we just walk around the circle a couple of times, just feeling again, because some of you may not have felt anything that first time. And again, that's perfectly valid. So now, having heard what other people have experienced, maybe just seeing whether that's your experience as well. So sort of doing that sort of forward, up and vomiting out movement, and then the shift. Or if you don't want to do a shift now, just walking around the circle with the Tai Chi circles, with that poise, with that kind of coming back into the body, just to settle that in ourselves. And we're going to move into a sitting or lying down meditation after this. So just so you know what's happening next. So just walking in your own pace again. Maybe trying this up and out movement if you want to, with the shift back. Otherwise, just staying with Tai Chi circles. So drawing the energy into the heart and taking it down to the earth. Noticing your posture, noticing the back of the body. Noticing a sense of your feet on the floor. And then just dropping the arms and just going back to normal walking and seeing the sensations of the body as you just let your body move in its normal forward walking motion. And then coming back to sitting or lying down. We're going to have a short meditation together. And at the end of this meditation, if you wanted to stay quiet for the evening, then do just disappear off. Otherwise, there'll be an opportunity for more questions or anything else you would like to ask or say. So as we take up our sitting posture or lying down posture, just notice sensation in the body. We've been doing this evening, you've done do-in, self-massage. There may be tingling. You may feel some heat. You may feel that sense of aliveness. So just noticing without any judgment. Sensations in the body. A sense of acceptance and love and gratitude for this body for bringing us here this evening. This poem is called Earth by Derek Walcott. Let the day grow on you upward, through your feet, the vegetal knuckles, to your knees of stone, until by evening you are a black tree. Feel with evening the swifts thicken your hair, the new moon rising out of your forehead, and the moonlit veins of silver running from your armpits like rivulets under white leaves. Sleep as ants cross over your eyelids. You have never possessed anything as deeply as this. This is all you have owned, from the first outcry through forever. You can never be dispossessed. Just allowing your breathing body to do its thing. You don't have to do anything except be here on the earth, connected to the earth and connected to the sky. Alive, aware, awake. Let the day grow on you upward, through your feet, the vegetal knuckles, to your knees of stone, until by evening you are a black tree. Feel, with evening, the swifts thicken your hair, the new moon rising out of your forehead, and the moonlit veins of silver running from your armpits, like rivulets under white leaves. Sleep, as ants cross over your eyelids. You have never possessed anything as deeply as this. This is all you have owned, from the first outcry through forever. You can never be dispossessed. Especially if you've been lying on the floor, just taking time to wiggle your toes and fingers before you sit up. Has anyone got any questions or comments about maybe their own practice of meditating with the body or anything from this evening?
Since the lockdown, I've been doing a more regular practice of meditation, possibly than before, and I've been noticing all sorts of more sensations in my body in the meditation. Would you do the Do-in exercise before meditation, or would that be something you do more at a different time? I was just, wondering.
Yeah, so you can do it whenever it feels nice. So I'd do it before meditation. quite often on retreats we'll do some kind of qigong or moving the body around before meditation. If I'm doing a double sit on a retreat or longer, then I'd probably do something in between the two sits, maybe walk around, maybe get sensation back in my body, check out my knees and everything. And yeah, anytime when I think, oh, I just fancy a bit of...
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
I had a bit of a reaction to the fact that our body is the only thing that we totally possess and we can't be dispossessed of it. And the reason being that I've had a liver transplant. So for me, I don't possess the whole of my body. I am a custodian of somebody else's organ. It was a lovely moment, actually, because I've realized many times, but particularly at this point, that in that one act, I have been given the opportunity to tread the spiritual path and to even be here. And hopefully I'm bringing this lady's DNA with me. But it was a strange thing. I don't totally possess my body, and I never really sort of thought of it like that before. So it was very pleasant, but a strange.
That sounds really powerful, really powerful moment for you. Yeah. And what a gift you've been given.
Absolutely incredible, really.
Yeah. And in a way you do possess it because you've been given the gift. So now it's yours as well. So it's not that it's not that it's not yours now as well.
Hi, thank you so much. Could you just show us again the movement with the arms that we did when we were walking, just so that I so the movement for the calming one.
The calming one. So the calming one is called, you can just do it standing still. It's called pressing palms in calmness. So so it's a circle. Let me just turn sideways. It's a circle that's coming up and out. So it's kind of drawing the energy in. So still from the earth, but it's drawing the energy into the heart and then down to the earth. So it's kind of like it's an inward circle.
Yeah, I got it now. Yeah, I can see that's great. I can see your hand movements as well.
Yeah. Whereas the other one was kind of more of a flipping out.
Yeah,
circle.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
thanks.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. Probably time for one more comment and then I'll hand back to Sadaya Sihi. If there is another comment.
Except to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming along and joining in. It's great. Thanks. Okay, Sadaya Sihi, over to you.
Super. Thank you very much, Hridayagita. That was lovely. That was lovely. And for your team who were it was very helpful to have some people demonstrating as well. So thank you all. I really enjoyed how it was just so experiential and yeah, as well interactive, and just a chance for people to really bring this sort of in a kind of a practical way, the idea of the body, because we can have ideas about the body to actual what is the body, what does it feel like. Just one quick question from me is, you read a lovely poem at the end. Could you just say who it's by?
So that's Derek Walcott. It's called Earth.
Okay, I definitely had heard it before, and it's like, this is familiar. I just couldn't. So thank you. That was lovely note to end on as well. So I guess we'll just bring this session to a close. And again, just to remind you that we'll be meeting at the same time, same place tomorrow, same link. So you can just come join from the buddhistcenter.com/awake. There'll be a button there you can press. And tomorrow we're going to have a Q&A with the Tara Loka team. So that's Hridayagita, Maitra Mati, who's there in the shrine room as well, in the back. Yeah. And Maitra Devi and Maitra Siddhi, so the 3 Maitris. Yeah, so if you have any questions, just more generally on the 4 foundations of mindfulness itself, your practice, you might have been reading the material or listening to the material ahead. If you have any questions about any of that, just bring them along tomorrow and we'll have a chance to discuss with the team. So I've also I'm just going to put this in the chat box now. A link, if you'd like to support us, the Buddhist Center Online team and Tara Loka, please do. And thank you if you have. That's really wonderful. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this evening. Again, all the resources are on the home retreat space, so do check them out. So now we have just a chance to say goodbye or good night or good morning or good afternoon, wherever it is where you are. So you can just unmute yourselves and say hello, goodbye, and thanks perhaps, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hridayagita.
Thank
It was
you
amazing.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.